Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Sure.
As you all settle in, we'll continue to admit everyone into our waiting room. If you could, you should be popped in on mute, but if you're not, will you please go ahead and mute yourselves? Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our virtual event on ChatGPT, AI, and the future of digital. I'm Griffin O'Shaughnessy, the founder and CEO at Canopy Advisory Group. Canopy is an on-demand talent firm, ready to foster growth, accelerate performance, and tackle organizational challenges through our network of top-tier professionals across marketing, finance, HR, and strategy. Part of this vision at Canopy includes connecting our broader community with incredible experts like Thomas Young, our guest this morning. Thomas is an award-winning speaker, author, and consultant. He's a pioneer in the digital marketing space and helping companies get the most from the internet. Thomas has over 30 years of experience in marketing and sales and has helped thousands of companies increase their sales through his speaking, books, consulting, and digital marketing work. Tom is the author of 3 books and is also the founder of a Colorado-based digital marketing agency called Intuitive Websites. We've got a great turnout this morning, and we would love for this to be an interactive conversation. Tom has it packed full of incredible information, though, so please throw your questions in the chat, and I will monitor that and raise those questions to Tom's attention as much as possible. We'll also hope to save some time at the end for some additional Q&A. And with that, Tom, please take it away.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. What an exciting topic we have to talk about. It's been years since we've had something this big hit technology and hit marketing. So good for you for being on the forefront of this and gathering this information. I want to start with a few facts about what's happening. Fact number 1 is this is the fastest growing tech in history, with over 100 million users in just a few short months. Fact number 2 is that it's showing up in very interesting ways. It's showing up by powering apps and by powering websites. So it's not always going to be right there in your face, but it's going to show up in so many different ways. Fact number 3 is it is a tool to enhance what you're already good at doing. So there's no magic bullet. There's no quick fix here, but it's a tool to make you better at what you do and more efficient. And fact number 4 is that not everybody's using it, which is a tremendous opportunity for you to get in early and start using this. You're going to be able to accomplish tasks that take other people hours in a matter of minutes by using this tool. So today, what are we going to try to do today and hope to accomplish? I want you to understand this is a marketing presentation, and I've spent a career figuring out how to use technology to enhance marketing and sales. And we're going to take the presentation, we're going to wrap it into a 4-step process for marketing excellence. And we're also going to show how you can use these tools to make your sales and marketing teams better. I'm also going to talk about issues to avoid and problems to prevent. We've already seen these problems creep in, and we've got to be aware of them because the problems can be very significant, but they're also very manageable. And I'm going to give you a very focused AI marketing action plan. In fact, this presentation is going to be a little different than others you've seen because you're going to get a set of slides that really is a workbook and a resource guide in addition to a presentation. And the reason being is that I want you to take some action. I want you to take what you learned today, put it into practice. Now, some of you might feel overwhelmed with all the information you're going to get, but take it one step at a time, get the slides, go through them, watch the video, and step by step, you'll be able to make this work. Okay, so a couple of things I want to cover. One is a quick definition of terms. And some of you may already know this, but for those that are new to AI, there are 2 leaders in the AI space right now. Not a big surprise. One is Microsoft and one is Google. Microsoft is a leader in that they're funding OpenAI, which developed ChatGPT. And then Google has developed Bard AI, which is currently in beta testing. Now, in the presentation, I'm going to be switching back and forth between my slides and a browser. So bear with me because I'm going to show you what this looks like. So let me share my screen and I'll show you the first tool we're going to look at is the ChatGPT. So this is what the ChatGPT tool looks like. And when you sign up for the advanced version, which is GPT-4, you get the option to select from which of the three tools you want. I've been using GPT-4. There are some limitations there, but it's fantastic. It's just amazing. And down at the bottom, you'll see a field where you can enter your information. And we can just say to the tool, good morning. How is the weather in Denver? And we can start a dialogue. Now I'm going to be live online here. So sometimes the tool will freeze up and lock up because of usage, but let's see if it works today for us. All right, good morning. As an AI language model, I'm not able to provide real-time information to get the current weather in Denver. I recommend checking a reliable weather website or app like weather.com or going to Siri. Now let me add a follow-up question to that. So this tool becomes a dialogue. So if you don't get the answer you want on your first question, ask a follow-up question, build a dialogue, and then dive deeper with the tool. And this is how the tool works. Now, Bard is a little bit different. What's interesting about ChatGPT is all the different chats that you have are saved. Bard doesn't do that too intuitively. So if we go in and ask Bard, how is the weather in Denver? Bard's going to start a dialogue as well. And what's interesting is Bard will answer the question, what is the weather like in Denver? So as you start to bounce back and forth between these tools, you'll start to get a sense, which is the one that's going to help me the most, which is the one that's going to work with us. So let's come back to the presentation.
Can I ask quickly, is the reason why Bard would answer that because it's Google based? So it basically does that search on the back end, whereas the Microsoft product doesn't?
That's right. And because Google is eventually where they're going with this is Bard will be part of the Google search tool. Right. If you go type into Google search, how's the weather in Denver, you're going to get a ton of information and you won't need to click on a website. Google will tell you what the weather is. Whereas the ChatGPT didn't really want to go there. It wanted to kind of stay away from, getting into that level of detail. But if you ask it some fun things to do in Denver, you can start a dialogue right away. Okay, let's come back to the slides and back to the training. So I want to talk about a marketing process with you because the marketing process is going to drive results with these chat tools. If you just go in and start randomly typing questions without a strategy, without a process, not going to be as effective. But here's the process we're going to look at today. We're going to look at 4 different components: strategy, communication, inbound marketing, and then monitoring results. And I'm going to show you how to use the AI tools to drive these 4 things in your marketing. Let's start with strategy. So what is digital marketing strategy? What is marketing strategy around? Marketing strategy is based on the translation of what you do well to your target market. And many of us struggle with this. Even the best marketers struggle with this. How can you use AI tools to translate what you do well? Well, it starts with understanding, what is your marketing vision? Where do you fit in the marketplace? And how do you translate your value? These are the things that drive strategy. And AI tools can help you answer all of these questions. Once you start to do this, you'll be able to get simple, clear, direct content. You'll have excellent digital resources for users, and you'll be able to track people's movement in the funnel. This is what digital strategy is all about. And what you'll find really quick in using AI is that it's only as good as the questions you put in. That's number one. And it's only is really as good as the questions you put in down the road as you build your dialogue. So what are some questions you want to start talking to the AI about? As you hone in your marketing strategy, these are the $1 million questions that are going to drive growth for your business. How are you the best in your market space? If you can't be the best, how are you different? What processes about your company can you share? Who are the people at your company? How do they add value? What is your value or mission as a business, and how do you communicate that? And what are stories you can tell about your company? And also, what are the stories of your target market? How can you connect with the story of your target market? As you start to use the AI tool, I want you to literally take this slide and start asking these questions to ChatGPT. You will be amazed with the answers. And it'll take you down some paths that you just have never seen before in your company and that you can use on your website and in your marketing strategies. So at the core of these questions will always be the translation of benefits and risks. Now think about this for a second. The key benefits of people doing business with you are essential to any kind of marketing you do. The AI tools will help you translate that and communicate it. But don't leave out the risks, because the risks are important too. And the risks have they're twofold. Risk number one is, hey, if we don't buy the products, what's the downside? If we don't take care of this issue, what's the downside? But there's also the objections over buying your product. You need to be clear on those as well. AI tools can help you with that. And of course, gaining a competitive advantage and so forth. I also want you to think about the AI tools as a way to get inside the mind of your customers and your prospective customers. The best marketers on the planet live inside the head of their customers. The worst marketers on the planet live inside the head of their own company, of their own selves, right? So we've got to get inside the head of customers, and these AI tools are fantastic for that. Because think about it, with the AI tool, you now have unlimited resources from the whole global population of what's online. You can pull from that to better understand your customers and then write marketing plans that are actually things you can execute on. So that's a quick lightning round on strategy. Just want to check in, Griffin, if there's any questions on the strategy side.
Not yet. I think everyone's just sort of absorbing it all. So forward. Thanks, Tom.
So question number one, strategy. How do you translate what you do really well in the eyes of your consumer? Step two, or the second part of this process, is how do we communicate that? How do we use content to do that? Today, the world is driven by content marketing. You know this. It's about websites. It's about social. It's about email marketing. It's about connecting with content. So AI is a fantastic tool for making this happen. And we've got to think about content as user intent. You probably heard the term content is king. Well, I want you to think about this term. User intent is king. Because if you don't understand the user intent of people reading your content, the content can't be king. So once again, the AI tools are going to help us in the optimization of content that drives conversion rates. And conversion rates are defined as movement in your sales funnel. Movement in the buyer's journey is a conversion rate. And AI tools will not only help you analyze data, but they'll also give you the tips and tools to move people through the buyer's journey. Now, if we're going to get inside the head of customers using AI, we've got to understand, what do they want? So people that buy from you, they almost always want to do two things. They either want to solve a problem or they want to enhance their life in some way. And they want to do this through the research that they're doing and by learning about your products and services and so forth. And the bottom line is they want to save time and money. And what AI is going to do for us that are on the board now, it's going to save us time and money in incredible ways. And in projects that used to take hours now will only take minutes. And I'm going to show you some examples in a second. So I think you're probably understanding here that we want to get value from digital content. We're going to use AI tools to do that. And I'm going to share these slides with you so that you can have all these questions. You can start asking these questions of the ChatGPT and build some amazing dialogue. And I also want to train you on one more thing that around content that is super valuable. And that's the concept of storytelling and story branded content. Because if we're going to use AI to reinvent marketing content, we're going to do things that, as far as getting clear on benefits and risks, and we're going to use AI, number one, to get first drafts of content. So all of this content that you're getting is going to be first draft content that you're going to make revisions to. And then that content's going to end up on our websites. We have better digital content. And we're also going to have wealth of content in the middle of the funnel. So I mentioned the funnel. I mentioned how important the funnel was and conversions. Conversions happen when we have great middle of funnel content. No more excuses for not doing that, because ChatGPT will write this content for you in first draft fashion. It'll also prepare apps, calculators, digital tools, checklists, and more. All right, so I mentioned StoryBrand. I want to talk about StoryBrand because unless you have this tool, of understanding how to connect with what people remember, then the stuff you get from AI chat, it just won't resonate. So if you want to use AI chat to create content, I want you to think about how people remember stories but forget information. And this is a fantastic resource. If you're serious about marketing, you must read this book by Donald Miller, Building a Story Brand. And once you have the knowledge from this book and you start interacting with ChatGPT, man, you're supercharging your content. Now, many of you may not have time to read the book. I'm going to summarize it for you in a few bullet points. Number one in the book is that if people don't understand your message, they can't proceed with you. So I encourage you, as you interact with the chat tools, to get clarity on your company messaging. And then the big takeaway from today is that you are not the hero. Your customer is the hero. You are the guide. Guides are critical to every story that's ever been told, right? Every movie that you've seen has a guide. The hero's on a journey, you're a guide helping them. Your company has a plan and a call to action because you're a guide, and you're going to help these heroes defeat their villains and get emotional success. This is at the core of how you're going to drive great content. Now, I'm not going to review this slide in detail, but I didn't want to leave this out. At Intuitive Websites, obviously, we build a lot of websites. And this is a website flow that we've put together that works great for story branded content. And I'm not going to go through this, but I am going to offer you all a 30-minute consult follow-up if you want to meet with me, and we can go through this slide in more detail. But it's important enough. I wanted you all to have it. What I want to cover today is how you use the AI tools to write content that fits in these different sections on your key landing pages of your website, especially your homepage. So a focus on story and benefits. What are your key benefits? What are the real risks and buyer objections? If your customer is the hero and you are the guide, how do you guide them? How do you drive clarity and focus on marketing results? And where does AI support marketing results? This is one of the key slides from the presentation. And this is your starting point with ChatGPT or even Bard, if you want to try Bard. Go to ChatGPT, and all of you must do this. What are the benefits of fill in the blank with your product or service? What are the risks of not buying or not using our product or service? How do I get success in marketing my product or service? And then ask questions about ROI. What is the potential ROI of my product and service? And then how can you write a tool to help our customers figure out ROI? What are keywords used in search? By the way, ChatGPT is a fabulous SEO tool. And then you can ask ChatGPT to write homepage taglines for you. In fact, ChatGPT can write taglines and headers for any content on your website. Why is that important? Users scan content. Nobody reads blocks of text unless they're super interested. So when people engage with website pages or any kind of digital content, they read taglines and headers first. That's got to pull them in. It's a great tool for writing fantastic taglines and headers. All right, so I'm going to show you an example for one of our clients that we did. This is a roofing company, commercial roofing company based in Atlanta. And I want to walk you through how we ask questions with ChatGPT to get to these benefit-focused contents. And before I jump in this, Griffin, good time for any questions.
Perfect, we do. So we have one question about how to ensure the content is correct and accurate if it's outside your area of expertise.
Great question. And I'd like to hold that one. We're going to get to that in a second, okay, because we're going to talk about things to watch out for with ChatGPT. We've seen some interesting content come through. Let me show you this example of how to use the tool with a commercial roofing company. So what you'll see here, I put it in a Google Doc because it's just easier. I don't have to deal with the technology that might come up, but this is straight out of ChatGPT. So I asked the question. I started with the risk question. What are the consequences of a leaky roof and water damage for a commercial building? Because this is in the mind of their target market. And then look at these answers: structural damage, mold and mildew, electrical damage, loss of productivity, damaged inventory, increase in energy bills. This is a writer's dream to have this kind of first draft content. And you can build blog posts and social media posts and videos off of this. It's fantastic. And then I had a follow-up question. Okay, interesting. what are the key benefits of regular key maintenance to prevent leaks? So what are the benefits now? Do we know what the risks are? What are the benefits? And ChatGPT, once again, excellent benefits as a starting point for first draft content. And in my experience in marketing, working with many, many marketers, people struggle with this. Sometimes we're so close to our company, we don't always even see these benefits. So I went a bit deeper and I said, okay, great. So what is then the ROI on commercial roof maintenance? If we know it's going to prevent these kinds of problems, what is the ROI? And once again, great content on ROI that people will want to read about. Now, when you write content like this on website landing pages, you will see conversion rates that approach 3 to 5%. When you talk about yourself and how great you are, you're going to get a 1% conversion rate. So this is why this is so important in marketing. I took it one step level and I said, well, okay, so great. So if we know there's ROI, well, let's write an ROI calculator. And certainly, here's an example of an ROI calculator. Not only does the ChatGPT give you the calculator, it also gives your developer the code to put it on your WordPress website. So now we have a middle of funnel tool to engage with users and to show them, hey, we know our stuff. We know what's important about roof maintenance. And then we can go a little deeper and say, hey, do you know a few leaders in the Atlanta area? And we can get a sense of, hey, how do these tools promote other businesses? Now, I will say that it's in the infancy right now for getting your brand found in ChatGPT and Bard, but we're seeing more and more brand names show up in searches. So it's only a matter of time before this will be a variation of a search engine, and your company will start to show up when users ask questions like this. And then, of course, yes, question.
We got a couple of questions I think are really relevant to this. If, let's say, every roofing company out there enters these same questions, are they all going to get the same content? And then are there any guardrails in place to prevent duplicate content so all the roofing companies don't end up having the same content on their website?
It's a great question. So let me answer that question in two ways. One way is that, well, they will be the same because you are offering the same benefits, right? So you're going to get similar answers. But I encourage you all to ask the ChatGPT tool this question. How can I stand out as a roofing company? It seems like these questions apply to everybody. How can I stand out? And then ChatGPT will talk about things you saw on that previous slide, which is, what's the mission of your company? What are the values of your company? Who are the people? What are specific processes you have that others don't have? What is your plan for getting started? Now we're differentiating ourselves. But if you ask those questions to ChatGPT, it'll drill down and give you those answers. It also gives you search terms. So you can start, driving traffic from these search terms, and you can optimize your website. You can work with your digital firm, make sure that these terms are the ones you want to target. And as I mentioned, it can also write taglines for you. Now, all of this content, I want to stress this over and over again, this is first draft content. You're going to work with this content. But as a writer, and I've written 3 books, the empty page is the worst thing, right? It's so good to have some content at you that you can start working with. And then, can ask about the brand.
Yeah, does ChatGPT, can you ever get it to cite its sources?
I haven't tried that. It's a great question. I imagine that it will probably give us some kind of generic response around that. But what we have found in our testing with ChatGPT is that when you dig deeper, it digs deeper with you. Mm-hmm. So I bet you if you kept asking questions, it would eventually tell you its sources. Mm-hmm. It's a bit of the wild, wild west out there. The thing that the reason people are afraid of AI is because AI can create itself. And this is where the tool is unique. Because it can write code, it could write code and launch code. And that's pretty scary because what could it do? It could decide to take down a website. It could decide to build a website and launch it. When things like that start to happen, then we've got to put some guardrails around it. Okay, let me come back to our slides. All right, we're going to talk about inbound marketing next. Whoops. Griffin, can you see my slides?
I can.
Okay, good. Let me come back because I'm having a hard time seeing them. Okay, you can see them now? Okay, good.
Yes.
I can see them now. Inbound marketing. So we know that in marketing today, you have got to attract people to your brand. We've got to get found in their research. That's super important. So how can we use these chat tools to get found in their in the research and meet that infinite audience of one that's out there finding you or looking for you? The old school of marketing was we had an audience of many. We did a shotgun blast to try to reach everybody. Now we're doing infinite audiences of one and finding them in their research. So here are some keys around using AI to get found as a brand. And I'm going to lean on what Google is already doing. Now, I don't know if you all follow Neil Patel. He has one of the largest marketing agencies on the planet. And Neil Patel is reporting recently from this week that Google will be adapting AI chat into its search function, which means that search is going to change big time. So how are we going to get our brands found in Google if they make that kind of change? Well, we've got to do it first by understanding the funnel, understanding how people move through our sales process, and understanding that that funnel has changed. People now are deep into research before they talk to a salesperson, right? If you're trying to prospect to people by calling them on the phone and leaving voicemails and so forth, you know that's not working. The new funnel is replacing that cold calling and those qualifying questions with self-service content that now is going to be provided with AI tools, AI chat tools. And we want to move people through the funnel by having the various tactics that we talked about, moving people through the middle of the funnel down to the bottom of the funnel with a virtual meeting with the salesperson or even a face-to-face meeting. All of the steps in this funnel process, these 7 steps that most companies should be using. In fact, a big takeaway from today's presentation is if you don't have the middle of funnel tactics you see here, ebooks, gated content, webinars like we're doing, other types of virtual events, we've got to get those going because with the privacy laws that are coming, with the changes coming in Google search, it's more important than ever to get people's email addresses and to build loyal followers by having an email address. Now, so if we're going to get people to research us in the funnel and to move forward, what are some great questions to ask ChatGPT? Well, I love the most obvious direct question you can ask. How do I get people to engage in my funnel, to engage in my buyer's journey, to get my ebook, to attend my webinar, to do whatever you're looking for them to do? You'll get some great answers from ChatGPT if you ask that. I also think it's critical that you use ChatGPT to hone in on content topics. Now, I've been in lots of marketing meetings, and content topics are usually they fly by the seat of the pants. Somebody has an idea, and we decide to run with it. I want you to change that and stop doing that. I want you to use ChatGPT to help you really hone in on topics by persona. So you know the personas of people that buy from you. I want you to answer this question. What is the most insightful topics that these personas would like to read about? What are the hot buttons for these personas as far as topics go? And use ChatGPT to identify personas and identify content topics by personas.
Tom, is there any consideration to be taken for B2B versus B2C?
Well, it's a great question. So we do mostly B2B marketing in Intuitive Websites because B2C marketers really should have internal teams doing this work. The fundamentals are the same. The fundamentals are the same. I'm going to talk about influencers in a second. It is my belief and experience that in B2C, influencers become more impactful in getting your brand seen and heard. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So AI to get heard, to build a loyal following. Now, once you have their email address and once you've got them in the funnel, there are certain considerations to think about as you chat with the AI. And I want you to start thinking about the words trust, empathy, and understanding. How can I build trust in my target market? How can I be empathetic to the concerns of my target market? And how can I build understanding into what they're going through? These are key principles, and I'll share this slide with you so you can take these bullet points and start a conversation. These are key principles to find depth of content that really matters to people. And keep in mind that users can see through marketing sizzle. And now with ChatGPT tools, there's no more need for marketing sizzle. What's marketing sizzle? Marketing sizzles when you talk about how great you are, when you talk about how, fantastic your company is. And your company is fantastic. And there is a place for that. It's called the About Us page on your website. The About Us page is where you write about yourself. This is about the company. But most key landing pages need to be about the user intent, why people are on that page. And then finally, another concept of AI is that we can use AI to simplify. We know, and I know from years in marketing, that people buy from brands that make it simple, B2B or B2C. So we want to use AI tools to make it simple. And one of the best examples of this is Google. And in fact, what's interesting to me is that Google, not only have they kept this website for 20 years, they keep their search very simple and straightforward, but their Bard tool is difficult to use. It's not as easy to use as ChatGPT. So that's a miss in the marketplace. And it's very interesting to watch what's happening. But on the flip side, Microsoft is a mess to use, and no one's used. I mean, that's why Google has an 80% or more market share, because it's easy to search on there. But go to Microsoft Bing or go to their Edge browser, and it's just difficult, convoluted, too many things. And if you use the ChatGPT tool through the Edge browser, it's just confusing as hell. So it's going to be very interesting. I want you all to watch this. Watch Microsoft, watch Bing, watch Google, watch Bard, and see what comes out. Right now, the big winner is ChatGPT. And here are the rules of simplicity that you want to take as you start to interact with these chat tools. Think about what are 3 key messages. So if you're a roofing company and you have a dozen benefits, well, people may not get a dozen benefits when they land on your homepage, but can we give them 3? What are the 3 most important? We can write about the benefits on other web pages. And I want to also touch base really quick on the homepage tagline. The homepage tagline is so critical because it is the most important piece of marketing copy at your business. Think about it for a second. The homepage tagline is the most important piece of marketing copy at your company. All of the key stakeholders at the top of the funnel that look at your website, the first thing they're going to see is that homepage tagline. Today, many websites don't even have a tagline, or they have a tagline that's cryptic or a tagline that is generic, which means it's interchangeable with any other website. Let's use our ChatGPT tools to get some great, straightforward taglines that are story branded and move people to engagement and look at the rest of your homepage. Now, in inbound marketing, there are tactics that are part of your inbound marketing plan. I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. And I want to spend most of my time on the search engines because this is the traditional SEO slide. This is what is at the core of SEO. And in our research and what we found is this may change big time, because if chat is not going to index websites, what is it going to look for? So think about that for a second. The old school approach is that your website gets indexed, it gets found in a Google search. The new approach is going to be more focused on these 4 areas. And they're called EAT with an extra E. And I think this is actually from Google, but this is what we have to focus on. Use content to show your experience. Use content to show your thought leadership and expertise. Use content to show that you're an authority because your content gets traction. And use content to build trust because it's shared and of high value. This is at the core now of what it's going to take to get found in digital marketing. And we've got to start working on this today before Google flips the switch and our website is not getting found anymore. And we're going to be looking for chat tools and other ways to get found. I'm going to go through these slides fairly quickly because I want to get to some more questions, and I actually want to get to a couple of examples. We might actually, Griffin, do a couple examples from the group and look at a website or two and go to ChatGPT and write some headlines or something.
Perfect.
But yeah, for email marketing, write great email content, first draft content with AI support. Get a monthly email newsletter out that you can use AI to help you support it with topics and so forth. And then the other way you can use the tool is once you start seeing results from your email marketing, go back to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm getting a 20% open rate. What can I do to improve it? And then get specific. Here are the benefits I'm talking about. Are there any benefits I'm missing? And that tool becomes an advisor for you to do even better email marketing. Now, for the time being, in the current state of affairs with Google, More website content drives more traffic. Now, I tell you right now, a big issue with Google is what do we do with AI generated content that's going to flood the internet? And I'm going to challenge everyone on this call to not be that type of company. You are not going to flood your website with AI generated content. You need to use the AI tool for first draft content to help you with topics and headers and to get your team motivated to write fantastic content. That's the way to do it. Once you do that, not only will you see more traffic to your website, you will also see your company grow as an asset in itself. More website traffic means more leads means more sales, means you have a higher valued company. And there's lots of benefits for great content, right? With the big takeaway that the AI tool helps us remove excuses. There's no excuses for not writing content anymore. We've got to get someone who can edit this content and get it live on the web. And then we want to focus on expertise because down the road, we may not have a Google search tool like we do now.
All right.
Haven't talked much. Yeah, I got a question, Griffin.
A couple, and yes, on the tagline slide, you mentioned the 10 out of 10 rule, but we didn't get to hear what that was. Do you have time to just dive into that for a second? Yeah,
I just want to say once again that this is a workbook. There's a ton of content in here, and I'm happy to do a 30-minute follow-up. But the 10 out of 10 rule is actually really important. The 10 out of 10 rule means that people coming to your website know what you do as a company. Now, you can be unique and creative in how you express what you do and how you do it. And I want you to be unique and creative. But what I don't want you to do is have 10 people come to your website and only 2 or 3 get it. People that already knew you, right? We want people to come to your website to know what your company does and to be able to refer to you. That's the 10 out of 10 rule. And you know, I'm not asking you to dumb it down to the point where it's silly, but I am asking you to have clarity on what you do and what your company does.
Okay, great. Is there a certain browser that's best when you use ChatGPT, or does it not matter?
Well, I use Safari and it's worked great. I would say Safari and Chrome are 2 of the best browsers. I have played around with the Edge browser and I just find it too confusing. I don't have time to wade through all that stuff. Okay. If I did take time with the Edge browser, it might be fine, but at this point, they got to simplify it.
Okay, and then what is your favorite tool to use to scrub, I guess, to determine whether Google will flag your content for AI generated? Like, does it flag it and then, you know, decrease the value of that content if it's AI generated, so you can look for that using a certain tool?
I want to stress right now that it's still the wild, wild west out there. And what I mean by this is that we don't know what's going on. We really don't know. But we're going to try to assume that Google will, yes, they'll flag 2 things. They're going to flag AI content at some point. They're not yet. And they're going to flag plagiarism content. So what I would use is a plagiarism tool right now. And if you run your content through a plagiarism tool, and I have some in the resources section, but if you run it through that tool and the tool says, hey, this content just came from another website or book, then yes, you got to change that. But I want you to know that throughout history, writers have always copied from other writers. I mean, that is how we do it. I mean, there are original ideas, but at the basis of all original ideas, they've come from other ideas and it's been built upon. So there's nothing wrong with getting those ideas. What I'm encouraging to do is put your slant on it, put your original thought on it, take those benefits and improve upon them, and do it in social media. So no more social media that's fluff. Let's get to some really good core social media content. And you can also take AI content as a first draft, rewrite it, and then put it into a video for people that want to, you know, experience content in a video because they basically don't want to read. They're visual or they want to hear something. I want to talk about influencers. And in fact, for the B2C marketers out there, influencers are critical. Influencers become more important every month, every year, and they become more important now in the world of AI as we start to lose that connection with Google search and we have to find other ways to reach consumers. So it's interesting to note that throughout marketing, our best customers have always come from word of mouth and networking, right? And this is the new word of mouth and networking. So how can you use the AI tools to write an influencer marketing plan? Well, I'm going to show you an example. They're absolutely fantastic. They've blown me away. And I've got my team at Intuitive Websites working on this big time because I feel like developing influencer strategies is something we have to proactively do. So let me come back and share my screen. I'll show you an example. We are working with this fabulous company based in Denver called Suavecito Tequila. And they are one of the best tasting tequilas on the planet, and they're just getting traction. And we're going to help tell the world about Suavecito. So I was on chat and I thought, this would be a great example to share in this webinar. How do we find influencers for a smooth tasting tequila brand? And here we go. Here's our this is a fantastic influencer plan. Now, this is what we do at Intuitive Websites. We execute on plans like this, but what a great starting point for the team, right? And this becomes the things we have to do to get out and make this happen. And then you can ask follow-up questions then around the influencers, and you can dive into personas. What are some things to know about targeting personas for this high-end smooth tequila? Affluent professionals, connoisseurs and enthusiasts, mixologists and bartenders, foodies and culinary adventurers, luxury lifestyle enthusiasts. Now we're starting to get at the core of who's going to buy this product, champion the product, and go in and really drive results. And then I asked the question, and this is the kind of dialogue I want you all to have with this tool. Okay, great. That's great. I love it. But these personas are hard to find. Everybody wants to sell to the affluent consumer, right? How do we find these people? And boom, targeted social media advertising, which is the great answer, of course. Collaborate with other influencers, which we asked about before, content marketing, and so forth. Keep in mind that this kind of research and this kind of work used to take hours and hours of a consultant's time and of research. Now we have it so quickly at our fingertips. What are your thoughts about thought leadership content with a high-end tequila brand? And then here we go. This is what is fantastic. And this is what we're going to write blog posts about. And this is what's going to draw people to the brand. And when they try the product, they're going to love it. And it's going to support the growth.
Tom, do you know if any of this content is directly copied by ChatGPT from other websites, or is it all sort of a new draft written by ChatGPT?
Okay, so great question. So it's kind of hard to get our arms around how this is working, right? How the heck is it doing this? How is Tom having a marketing conversation at such a high level with a technology? It works because it's a language-based tool. So here's what that means. It's looking for how we use language to respond. And then it goes out to the resources it has and pulls similar language to respond to me in a way that I understand. That's what's driving AI as a language-based tool. So what that means is that it's going to respond to what I put in. As I start to shift the conversation, it's going to respond back to me. So yes, it is pulling information from all kinds of resources on the web, and it seems to be pulling information from books that have been printed and posted online, which that's a game changer, right? Because books have always been at the core of knowledge base. So let me come back to the slides. We're going to start to wrap up on the slides, and then we'll do a bit more Q&A. And if we have a chance, we'll do an example or two. I'm going to talk about action items. I mentioned this is a workbook of action items. After today, you can set a goal for yourself. We are going to be an online publisher, number one, and we're going to be thought leaders. We're going to develop fantastic content marketing calendars. We're going to cover SEO, and we're going to drive content through email, blogs, and social on a regular basis. Now, all of this that we're talking about is measurable and trackable, and you can use AI tools to measure your ROI and your time and investment in this. And you can ask the AI tool to give you ideas on how to improve metrics. I don't have a lot of time to spend on this, but here's the big takeaway for you. Know your sales funnel, know the metrics in the funnel, use ChatGPT for ideas on improving those metrics. Absolutely fantastic for that. And like I said, I'll share the slides. This is the key digital metrics you want to be following. These are leading indicators for the growth of your company. And I do have a slide in here about measuring digital marketing ROI. This is the kind of data that you want to start. I recently did some searches in ChatGPT, and I asked about conversion rates in the funnel by industry. And it gave me conversion rate targets by industry in different parts of the funnel. And this is what you want to drive your marketing team to do, because you're going to invest this kind of money in digital marketing, whether you bring people on board or you hire a company like mine, you want to see the return. And you can use ChatGPT to create ROI examples based on your average order and your visitors to your website or any kind of top of funnel activity to then determine ROI. These then become the targets for your sales team. It takes the mystery out of marketing ROI and tracking conversions and so forth. If you have an interested user on your website page and you have great story branded content, you're going to get conversion rates of 5%. So for every user you convert, what percent becomes a sale? Now we're starting to get ROI going. Okay, one more thing to cover before we wrap up is how is this work going to get executed on? And I actually think this is a very valuable part of the presentation for you all, because in marketing we have to bring these three disciplines together. They're so different, marketing, technology, and design, and we've got to manage them all with project managers. So how do we make that work? How do we bring these groups together so that everything's flowing and working? And we also have different approaches to marketing. Not everyone thinks about marketing the same way, and so as you build a marketing team, you want to have these 5 different disciplines on your team. And many companies don't have that chief storyteller. And using ChatGPT is going to force you to connect with a content writer. We have 4 content writers in Intuitive Websites because of the growth of content. Now, if you look at your digital marketing teams, your marketing teams in general, these are what the teams break down into. It's these 8 different hats that people wear. You want to have a funnel manager working on emails. You want to have a direct marketing manager working on the top of funnel traffic generation. Got to have a coordinator coordinating all the pieces. How can these folks use ChatGPT to really be effective? Well, this is your homework. I'm going to send you these slides. In whatever category you fall in, we got to get started on this. Sales and marketing leadership. Know your benefits and risks. Get that marketing scorecard going, track ROI, know topics by persona, and know your sales funnel and conversion rates. If you are a salesperson or sales manager on the sales team, have the ChatGPT ready to go during your sales conversation. Your sales people you're talking to may know more than you know. Be ready for that and use ChatGPT to keep up to speed. You can also use it to write proposals. That you can write sample proposal copy right in the tool. Content writers, use it for a first draft, get great topics going, improve the homepage content, and get those mid-funnel assets going. Email marketers, get great first draft content, research and schedule campaigns, analyze data, and move your websites or move your email marketing to the next level. Know what your CTAs are, your call to actions, and get great CTAs in your email. Inbound marketers, know your pillars of thought leadership, work on that EEAT, get the CTAs going and so forth. And then project managers and coordinators, use Fathom. Fathom is an amazing tool. It's a mind-blowing tool. Go search on it. What it is a tool that does a summary of your Zoom meetings, and it takes your Zoom meetings to another level. Forget note-taking. Note-taking is old school. Fathom gives you real live meeting summaries and you have it immediately. They're all actionable. Website developers, now is the time to get creative with your codes. Let's make websites more than online brochures. Let's make websites interactive tools. Use the tool to write code and embed it in your WordPress websites and get some happiness from users. And then finally, social media pros. No more fluffy content in social. Let's get some great topics going in social. Topics of real value to people that are engaging with your brand. Now, the issues to watch. This came up a little bit in the questions, Griffin. And yes, I tried to cover some of these as we've gone through the presentation. Copyscape is the tool that we recommend for the plagiarism scanning. That you will see inaccuracies in ChatGPT. Don't throw it out because it gives you an accuracy. Keep fine tweaking and make sure you're reading the content and so forth. In the future, the browsers are going to start to be the gatekeepers for AI, and that's going to change things. But this is first draft content. This is first draft content. You must change it and improve upon it. What's coming in the future is when Apple and Amazon engage in this space. As soon as we have these AI tools on our phone and we're talking to our phone, that's going to be a huge game changer. Stay on top of it because it's changing every week. So I have some more action items for you. Number one is, feel free to contact me for a free 30-minute follow-up. We build fantastic websites and intuitive websites, and we use these tools to make my team more efficient. So you actually spend less money with us as an agency because we're so much more effective and efficient. And feel free to book a meeting with me for a 30-minute follow-up. And then, of course, Griffin, thank you for hosting this event. Reach out to Canopy as well for a check-in on what they do and how they bring skills and talent to your organization.
Completely. And many of our talented consultants can help in so many of these areas too. It's fun as you go through each of those slides with how to implement this, how directly it correlates with all the on-demand talent in our group. So Tom, we've got
and I'm going to include a whole set of resources. My books are here. You can find them on Amazon. And then, we have a few minutes left. We can take a look maybe at a website.
Perfect. Let me ask a couple other questions that have popped up in the chat. How do you compare the free version to the paid version? Do you recommend upgrading to Plus?
Yes, I recommend upgrading.
And is it $9.99 a month? Remind me the cost.
It's $20 a month, I believe.
Okay.
Is
that mostly because the free version is busy a lot, or do you find the content you get on the paid version is better?
Well, yes. When I was on the free version, it would at times lock up. In fact, it took a while to even get the account set up. We're kind of an early adopter, but I have just found that with the ChatGPT 4, it's more insightful. It's super fast, and it seems to go deeper. And we have the option to go back and forth. Now, it still seems to correlate data up through the end of 2021, but I've been testing that too, and it knew relevant topics. So, like I said, it's a bit of the wild, wild west out there.
Okay. Would you say that someone liked the idea of using Fathom as the note taker for Zoom meetings, and they're curious if Otter AI is comparable? Have you ever tried that tool?
It blows away Otter AI. It's not comparable.
Okay. In the same space, but much better.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you got to try it. And of course, it's free to use. If you're an individual user, you try it for free. And then after a couple meetings, you'll go, oh my gosh, how do we do without this?
And then can ChatGPT be used to translate content into other languages?
Yeah, I believe it can. I haven't tried that yet, but I believe it can. But of course, Google has a great translation tool as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any other questions live that haven't been answered, or would you all like to see just a kind of a real live demonstration?
Let's do a demonstration.
Yeah, let's do it.
So either we can volunteer a website, or Griffin, we can do your website, or
sure. Anybody want to volunteer their company's website?
Griffin, do my website.
Andrea, I was going to say Andrea. So Andrea Schumacher.
Okay, Andrea,
will you put the URL in the chat for Tom?
Yeah.
This is an interior design group based in Denver, but has a national presence in Santa Barbara and coming to the East Coast as well.
Okay. So what's the company name?
Andrea Schumacher Interiors. Let's see if I can pull up the.
I have to spell Schumacher.
Here, I'll throw it in the
There
chat.
we go. Look at that. Google's already using its AI tool to predict what I was going to put in.
Perfect.
So let's go look at the site. So I would imagine, Andrea, that your goal is to, from a marketing standpoint, is to have a really great brand, to have a great reputation, to get referrals, and perhaps from digital marketing, perhaps to get found in Google and for new customers to come to your website and reach out and meet with you. Is that all accurate? All those things accurate? Okay. So let's look at the website, Approach Interiors Open Mind Drawing. So one thing I will say, and this comes from many, many years of doing user testing, is that people generally don't respond well to rotating text because they go to read it and then it rotates and then they can't read it and then they just leave it. So we want to have a great tagline in these beautiful images you have. The tagline can be static, the images can rotate behind. And we also want to be very clear that and this is, users may not know that this is your work. So every single photo you have, we need a subtitle in here saying something that says this is your work. Perhaps it could say something like a new kitchen in, Highlands Ranch, or our latest home project in Aspen, or something, just so people know that you did this work. So let's go to ChatGPT. Let's do a new chat, and let's say, what are great homepage taglines for an interior design firm in Denver? Now, I put the location in there because I wanted to target it a little bit more. Okay, so
for a half a second, right?
just right now, today, just do number one. Just put number one in there. What's the downside of that? There is absolutely no downside for you saying that you elevate your space with Denver's premier. And here's the reason that is so good, because now we have nothing. So let's get that in there. I mean, that's a huge takeaway for you now. But let's go and then ask another question. Let's say, what are the benefits? I'm just going to type in what are the benefits and see if the tool knows. Okay, it wants me to put in. Hey, this is a great starting point. Now we're starting to do some marketing, right, Andrea? So this content that we're seeing, your challenge now is to find ways to translate content for these folks.
You just dig deeper and deeper with each question. And it's so helpful to me that all of your previous questions are categorized and listed on the left side.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens is with the tool is, you still need a designer, you still need a copywriter, but now you're going to get into content that really matters. And I would hope your blog would have, and your blog looks good, right? So you're already positioning yourself as a thought leader. The tool can now take you to a new level. I would also ask questions around what are call to actions, what does the sales funnel look like, and things like that.
And I also just want to highlight, Tom, I've used ChatGPT to teach me how to use Sales Navigator in LinkedIn. So the question I asked was, I'm a woman-owned business with a client in the utility space. How can I utilize LinkedIn Sales Navigator to gain more clients in the utility space? And then I asked for the exact steps. It gave me the exact keywords to use. I literally learned how to use Sales Navigator through ChatGPT, and within a week had about 3 responses from new people that I reached out to that were right in line with who I wanted to connect with. It was unbelievable.
Well, thank you so much for everyone for attending. Thank you so much, Griffin, for having me be a guest on your webinar, and I hope you all got good value from this.
Thank you, Tom. This is incredible. It's a great starting point. I know everyone appreciated it, and we'll follow up with the slides, the follow-up information here today or tomorrow. So look forward to hearing from all of you. Feel free to reach out to Tom or me if we can help support your team as you continue to utilize this tool in the future. Thanks, Tom. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.